Stories carved from concrete and root, tracks rusting, sidewalks splitting, weeds rising, proof that nothing stays buried forever. From alleys and overpasses where hope flickers faint, to dawn-lit forests where breath turns to mist and fears fall silent. Hands roughened by city work and wilderness survival alike, shoulders burdened by memories, freed by the miles walked beyond them. This is a testament to grit, to wandering without apology, to building shelter from ruins. A journey forged for one woman's right to live as she was never allowed to before. A journey for every soul that refuses to bow to the grind. Voidkeeper Adventures, a life unhidden, a path unbeaten. Walk it with us.
A big welcome to all our warriors and wanderers. Whether you're joining us for the first time or walking this road again, remember, every story is a step, and every step shapes the path we walk together. Now, before I get into the thick of things, I want to let you know, today, it's extremely hot out. In my area, when I'm recording this today, it is about 95 degrees at the height of it. And on top of that, the air quality is extremely poor. I have the light on in here. I have the fan off so that you guys can hear me better because I got the mask on. So please, if I'm breathing a little heavier today, or if I slow down and I pause more, that's the reason why. Now, as you can see behind me here, all right, there's some new artwork on the wall. Well, this isn't exactly new. We just decided to hang it up. These three pieces here, let's see, that way. It's kind of hard to do when it's reversed. But these three pieces here, this one, and that one, are all done by Amberheart herself. This one, where is it? This one here, right, is like a dragon. It's an abstract type of dragon art. You know, got the little hearts and some other stuff on it. That was one of her days where she just was mad. Nothing was going right with her art, and she just decided to say, screw it. So she literally just put on gloves, put her hands in the paint, did this, took some sponges, took some other stuff. I mean, one day if she wants to really get into how she did these pieces, she can. But that's how she did that. This is actually me and her. So we both got our work in it. And it's like a graffiti style abstract representation of a bunch of different things within our lives and just some cool designs. Like you got our version of Gearhead or the Thinking Man, kind of a combination of that. Our version of like the all-seeing eye there. You got the writing up there. A different version of like the quote unquote triangle, the one I'm not going to mention. And you've got the yin and yang in that representing like, look, the true ruler of, excuse me, having a little trouble breathing there. The true ruler of this earth and humanity is peace itself. Like if we can find peace and balance, then I'm not going to get into that right now. But anyways, so there's that one. And then we have this one, which is actually a paint over. So this canvas here was the very first canvas of this size that she got. She got this, I think it was 2020 or 21 she got that. And she was starting to do a mountain painting on it and things like this, and it just sat around for a while because she didn't really know how to continue it and she didn't like the way it was. So one day she just grabbed it and was like, you know what, I'm just going to tackle this because we're going to be moving soon. You know, we're going to be doing the whole nomadic lifestyle thing. And I got to pack everything up in storage, so I might as well finish my pieces. So she cranked that one out within, I think, about 3 days she did that, from like start to finish, because like I said, it was a paint over, so she had to clear the entire canvas, put all the background paints on there and everything first to make it, you know, standard. and then finished that one up. This one I think took her about a week and a half to do, and this one took her about 6-7 hours total. Now that for these we're talking about total, so yeah, there were days broken in between when she had to stop and she had to wait for the paint to dry and stuff like that. But total project time for those is what I said. So that's what we got going up there. We just decided to throw it up on the wall because it would look nice for the videos and just kind of showcase some of her artwork. And well, I guess with this one, kind of some of my artwork as well. We might change them up for the other videos, but for this one, we figured that'll do. So to get into the thing, I can't speak today. Sorry about that, guys. And my hair looks like I just rolled out of bed because the gel is just not working today with how hot it is. It's just not solidifying. But anyways, so like I was saying, since the beginning, you guys have been traveling with us, which we really appreciate. And you guys have been walking through the shadows and the silence, the pain, the perseverance. You've met a woman through memory and meaning. You've glimpsed her story through my voice, right? But you've never heard it through hers. So this journey, this part of the journey, hasn't been easy, right? You know, there's been a lot of long, winding steps, and at times nearly impossible things to comprehend or to dissolve. But most of you have stayed with us. Some of you, you've had to catch your breath, sit down, pause, and then meet us at the next ridge. And that's perfectly fine because this isn't a race. This, in our book, is considered a reckoning. You know, you followed a woman through her life from childhood scars to adult battles, abandonment, illness, broken systems, and unbreakable resolve. You've seen what it costs to survive decades of neglect, and and still stand with love. You've stood right there with us through the whole thing, you know, with love and grace, and she showed this sense of fire that she's had throughout her entire life that's never went out. So do me a favor for this part of the journey. Go ahead and, if you're not already, sit down with us. Feel the warmth of the fire. Maybe grab a cold drink, a soda, a beer, water, whatever feels right. Take a deep breath. Even if you're at the office or you have kids running wild or you're cooking, just take a moment. Allow yourself to be here with us. Although I wouldn't recommend watching this while cooking. Don't want anything to burn, of course. So, here's the deal. Today, for the first time, Amberheart steps forward, not just as the soul of the story, but as its voice. Some of you may have already guessed. The reverence of how I speak of her, the depth of our bond. It wasn't accidental. If you guess she's my mother, well, congratulations. You're right. She is. Now, before I bring her forward, though, there is one thing I need to let you know. What you're about to hear are her words, spoken her way, but she's not a performer. She's not a speaker. Half her throat was removed in surgery. Speaking is difficult, but it's her story, and it demanded to be told. So, to make this possible, I wrote her words down. Sorry. To make this possible, I wrote her words down, exactly as she wanted them said. This isn't polished, but it's the truth in its rawest form, spoken through struggle, offered in courage, and delivered in her voice. So, as we cross this threshold together, I ask you to listen, not just with your ears or watch with your eyes, but absorb this leg of the journey with your heart. Without further ado, here's Amberheart. Okay, so we're going to pause the video right here for a second because while I was editing this, I realized that I left something out, which is an explanation. So here's what you're going to see when the video continues, is me reading out from my mother's phone exactly word for word what she was going to come on to the video and tell you guys. Now, the reason for this is because we spent 3 hours doing take after take after take after take. She kept trying, was more determined, getting there, but her throat, because of the surgery, it was irritating her. The air quality on this day when this was recorded was actually really bad, and it was getting hotter and hotter. I believe I said at the time when I recorded this, it was like getting up to 95 degrees on that day. We didn't have the fan on so that you could hear us better. We had the studio lights going in the background so that you could see the paintings that were up. So unfortunately, when I continue it, it's going to be me reading it out from her phone, unfiltered, real and raw, and just right there. So with that, let's continue the video. Okay, so this is what she said word for word, or what she wrote that she was going to say word for word. Hi, this is my first time doing something like this, so thank you for being here. Really, it means more than I can put into words. I'm not used to cameras, or lights, or being the one people are actually listening to. But my son said it was time. Time for me to speak, to share, and I guess he's right. With that, welcome to my little corner of this big, messy, beautiful life we're trying to live out loud. I hope what I say means something to someone out there, even if it's just one person. So, who am I? That's a question I've been asking more. That's a question I've been asked more times than I can count. And honestly, it's not an easy one to answer. I'm Amberheart, the name I carry, the name I own. But who is Amberheart beneath all the labels and stories people tell? I'm a daughter, a sister, an aunt, a mother. I swear, I wear those roles like layers of my skin. Some days they feel heavy. Some days they remind me why I keep going. I'm also a survivor, a cancer survivor. That fight shaped me, changed me in ways I'm still learning to understand. But beyond all that, I'm an individual, a woman with a spirit that's stubborn, quiet, and maybe a little wild. People often tell me I'm an inspiration. They say I'm strong, determined, that I've overcome so much. While I appreciate those words, I don't always believe them. Not all the time, because there are moments where I'm scared, when I'm tired, when I don't think much of myself at all. And that's the truth. There's no, and that's the truth no one always sees. You know, guys, while reading this, for the first time, I'm actually going to take my glasses off because I cannot see the screen at all while trying to read this. So, where was I? Yes. I come from a long line of warriors. Mohawk, Iroquois, and French roots run deep in me. That heritage is part of who I am, carrying the stories of those who came before. There's strength and there's pain. It's a legacy I'm proud of, but it's also a quiet weight I carry. It reminds me to be patient, to be kind, to keep moving forward even when the path isn't clear. At times, I still feel like a child, curious, hopeful, dreaming. Even at 68, I want to explore, to see new places, to find new parts of myself out there on this journey. I want to be the matriarch of my family, the one who holds us together, who heals and loves fiercely, and that dream, that hope, it keeps me going. That's me, just a woman who's lived a long, hard life and is still learning what it means to truly be alive. You've heard the pieces of my story already. My son shared what he could in the first few episodes. He's good at that, sharing just enough to honor the truth while still protecting the people he loves. And out of respect for him and for myself, I'm not going to go too deep into that right now. Not just yet. Some things still hurt too much. Some things still sit like thorns on the soul. Not everything not everything's ready to be spoken out loud. But what I can tell you, what I want to share, is the moment everything changed for me. The moment I finally felt like I was alive again. It was the day my son came home. I had been waiting for years, hoping, praying, crying in silence, wishing one day he'd walk through that door. That day would come when I wouldn't have to fight anymore. That the day would come when I wouldn't have to fight alone anymore. Excuse me for that. Um, and when it did come, when he stepped off that bus and I looked into his eyes, I saw strength. I saw a fire in him I hadn't seen since he was a little boy. That's where my story begins. Okay, so since I'm actually the one reading this, you guys get a little insight into this. So here's the deal. I actually came off a Greyhound bus. You know, my bags were ready. I was holding them in my arms or in my hands, and I was looking around. Now, I knew kind of who I was looking for because they had sent me photos of what she looks like now and what my denounced father. Okay, so he's actually not part of the family heritage or lineage anymore. Like he's blood, obviously he's recognized, but he's done so many things, as you've heard, and you will continue to hear in her words, that yeah, he's father by blood, but that's it. So yeah, I was looking around for them, and when I saw them at the time, my demeanor was kind of standoffish because I had went through a lot, and I guess she's referencing that as far as the strength and everything, because I had gotten off the bus. I was holding rigid, back straight, bags at my sides, and I was just walking like a soldier would walk. And I walked right up to them. But the minute that I verified and recognized it was them, I dropped my bags and just wrapped her in a huge hug. So, yeah. Continuing on with that, though. Actually, give me one moment. I need to get something to drink really quick. My mouth is extremely dry. It is so hot in here. It's ridiculous. So, give me 1 second. Okay. So where was I? Okay. So I was living with his father then, in a 2-bedroom apartment. Nice on paper, but when you walked in, it was packed to the brim with the past. Boxes and bins, his grandmother's things, old memories stuffed in corners. That place felt more like a storage unit than a home. But even that wasn't the worst of it. Sorry for me messing that up. His father was controlling in every sense of the word, and if you know what I mean, then you're probably not far off. Not the worst of the worst. I wouldn't be sitting here if he had gone that far, but at times it came close to that level. It was bad enough that I lost myself in the silence, in the control, in the stillness of the way of always being not enough. I'm sorry I keep messing up so much, guys. Like, this is my mother's words, her story in her own way, and it's hard for me to it's really hard for me to read this, so I can completely understand why it was hard for her to try and record this. So I apologize and thank all of you for bearing with me on that. Anyways, let's continue. My son had come home, but he couldn't stay. Not in that place. Not in the way his father was. He moved out that same year. I stayed for a year, maybe 2. Kept surviving like I had for the last 45 years, until one day his father snapped. To put it bluntly, it wasn't a water gun pressed to my temple. That was the end of it. So, Yeah, to explain that a little bit, I actually came home and I had come home to a lie. He had lied to me and said that well, he said we were very wealthy. He said that I had a job waiting for me, and he said we had a nice place. And instead, I came home to this place that was a two-bedroom apartment filled with the past, like she said, filled with my grandmother's boxes of paperwork and totes and his stuff and my mom's stuff. And so it was like, it was just really cluttered. I wouldn't say hoarded, because it was, stuff from our family that he was still sorting through and they were still sorting through, but it was definitely cluttered. There's a whole backstory to why it was like that, and I found out later, but I just felt deceived, and then the hostility of the environment. Yeah, I couldn't stay for very long, so I moved out. um and that was that. So to explain the whole, as she put it, not a water gun incident, I'm continuing on with her words. This is not mine. This is me reading hers. Um, I made the call no mother ever wanted to make. Told my son to come get me. Told him to take everything I could carry. He was across the city dealing with something important for his health, but the second I made that call, he dropped everything. In half an hour, he crossed what it would have taken most people 2 hours on foot. When he showed up, I had to calm him down and stop him from earning himself another nice pair of shiny bracelets, if you know what I mean. Okay, come on, Ma. Really nice way to put that. But yeah, she actually did. I was so hot headed. I was seeing red at the time, and I probably would have done something stupid if it wasn't for her. Because don't touch my mother like that. Like, what are you doing? So, to continue on, oh my gosh. So she goes on to say, but what can I say? He's a mama's boy in all the best ways. Like I said, I'm going to keep it real and raw. I'm not going to filter anything out, and these are her words. So, hey, yeah, she's embarrassing me, and I guess I'm embarrassing myself by saying this, but it is what it is, right? So let's continue. 6 years have passed since that day. 6 years of trying to build a life from scratch. My son, he's chased every dream he had: restaurants, wine, fashion, music, podcasts, even a video game. Um, and yeah, I had a couple other ventures that I was doing, like something I'm still doing, which is writing, and a few other crafts that I never got off the ground, so there's really no point in mentioning them. But yeah, at one point he was getting ready to run for alderman, aiming one day to become president, and I believe he would have done it. He still might. Thanks, Ma. I really appreciate those words. Yeah, I was planning to run for alderman of the Ninth Ward here in my city, and then eventually go from there to mayor, governor, and president. I figured since the current president we have is in the situation he's in, and due to my past young, in love, and stupid nature, I seem to have caught myself a few of those and thought that my political career to becoming president and actually putting my dreams into order with uniting, not only the nation but globally, was completely amiss until the current reigning president. So, where was I? Okay, so she goes on to say, and I'll continue. But now he's helping my sister write her book. Yeah, I'm helping one of my aunts write her book. It's a story about what she went through in her life. It's actually like a biography documentary type of story. I don't really know how to put it. So that's something I'm doing now, because I've stopped all the other ventures. I've stopped the music, the fashion, the art. She stopped doing her art, because the nomadic style, as you could see, she's very good at it. And we have an online gallery. I just shut it down for now, because there's no point in keeping it up if nobody can buy anything, because we have to like pay for the subscription so that we can open up for everybody to be able to pay and do all of like the processing and everything like that. And right now we just can't afford to do that, so figured there's no point in keeping it up. I mean, we're gonna get it back up one day, but we figured right now with everything. Ooh, excuse me, that burp came out of nowhere. I apologize, guys. um but we figured just shut it down, store everything, and I'm still writing my books, plural, and I'm helping my aunt do her book as well as like. No, I see she goes on to talk about all that. So let me just continue. Um, all while doing everything to prepare for our nomadic lifestyle. So that's what I was just about to say. And then we'll keep on with what she says. So, me, I've been an artist for most of my life, not professional or anything, but as a passion. Through all the hardship, I kept painting, creating, teaching, hoping, and doing what I could with what little I had, trying to keep a little bit of light burning. But we had been doing it alone. No funding, no steady support, just my SSI and the will to survive. So yeah, she's disabled and she has SSI, but it's barely anything to do. Well, let me just keep reading on and see what she covers, and then at the end I'll comment on anything instead of constantly interrupting like this. So just my SSI and the will to survive. Now here we are. Everything around us was collapsing, still is in a way. This place we are staying now, it's not even my son's name. It's under the roommates and the building, the city, the system, it's all a mess. I won't even get into it, but it became clear we were running out of time. We started looking into nursing homes. I didn't want to hold him back any longer. He deserved a life, a future, a chance to breathe, maybe get married again, maybe reconnect with his daughter. Oh, wow, Ma. Thanks. Um, yeah. Let's just keep going. Personally, I just wanted somewhere safe, peaceful, a place where I could paint without worrying about how I'd eat the next week. But when he really started digging, laid out all the numbers, all the truth, it hit me like a brick. Nursing homes became a fear more than a hope by the end. I would have lost what little income I had, been trapped in a system that does not care, and left completely unable to help my family. I already lived that life once before after my cancer surgery when my son hadn't come back yet. Uh, wait, I already lived that life once before after my cancer surgery when my son hadn't come back. I didn't know that. So that's new to me. Wow. Okay. Let's just keep going and get through this. I wasn't about to go down that road again. Those were my choices, caged or cast out, until he came up with something else on the spot, like he always does. Yeah, I'm really good at coming up with solutions on the fly because my life is so fluid that I have to just do that. Anyways, that's my little problem solver. Okay, come on, Mom, really? Where where was I? Yes, that's right. The third option. She really wrote that. Where was I? Yes, right. The third option. She must have literally lost track while writing this. That's my ma for you. Okay. So he said, or you can come with me. We hit the road. We become nomads. We build a life that's ours, on our terms. You get to travel, meet your siblings, see places you've never seen, and I'll take care of you. I said yes after much debate and reservation. My reasoning was simple. I have been sheltered my whole life. Boston, California, Chicago, just bouncing between the coast and the corners, stuck in other people's plans for me. For once it all clicked. I saw that this is my only for me, once it all clicked, I saw this was my only option. Um, yeah, she has definitely been sheltered from what I know and what she's told me um, about her life. Anyways, let's let me make something crystal clear. When I say this was the only option, people always think it's just a figure of speech. No, and she wrote no in capitals. I mean that literally. I tried everything else. I really did. When this whole ordeal started a few months back, I told myself, okay, I'll go to a nursing home. At least then I have a roof, meals, medical care, and I won't be a bother to my son any longer. A place where all of my needs are met and I'm safe. I figured this time, I figured this time might be different with Voidkeeper by my side. But have you actually seen those places? Really looked? My son did. Yes, I did. He dug into everything for each potential facility: reputation, policies, operating protocols, programs, staff history, down to the shift change schedules, civil and criminal cases, financial history since their founding date. And yeah, I did a whole lot more than that, but I think she just didn't want to drone on. I did top to bottom research. Do you think there's dignity there? This is what she's writing. Do you think there's dignity there? To put it bluntly, there is not. Even the best ones in America have their dirty secrets. I've survived things I don't even want to talk about, and now what? I'm supposed to just fade out into some cold hallway with fluorescent lights where people forget my name? Well, somehow through government laws they can literally take they can legally take every dollar I have except at most 120 a month. I want peace, not prison. Then I thought, okay, maybe I'll rent a room, find a little space, something manageable. But Voidkeeper, he sat me down line by line. SSI, I get less than $1,000 a month. Rent for a studio in Chicago starts at $1,200. That's before food, medication, transportation, clothing, even toilet paper. You do the math. It doesn't work. It's not broken. It's rigged. Next I said, maybe a shelter. That was the hardest for me because that was me admitting I have nothing left. That I'm back at the bottom. Okay. Give me a second, guys. That was the hardest one because that's me admitting I have nothing left, that I'm back at the bottom. Here's what people don't understand about shelters, though. They don't stay temporary. Not when you're 68 and have a medical history like mine. Eventually, the system steps in. They move you to a facility that you don't get to decide anymore. He never yelled, never pressured. She's talking about me here. He never yelled, never pressured. He just showed me. He laid out the road and said, you've got one path left, Ma, and it's the one where I'm still by your side. I fought it tooth and nail, told him he deserved more. Get this. His response, and yeah, I actually did say this. This is more. You living, not dying in the corner of some room all doped up, drooling on yourself, not knowing who I am, let alone who you are. You paint, laugh. You painting, laughing, being wild and free for the first time in your life. That's worth more than any dollar I'll ever make. Yeah, I did say that. I didn't know she was going to write it like that, but basically, yeah, that was the gist of what I said. So to continue with what she wrote. And that hit me because I've spent my whole life caring for others, putting myself last, yet here's my son, giving me a way forward, sacrificing everything time and time again for a woman who doesn't even think she deserves it. The crazy part is, unlike others who have helped me out of pity, he's helping me out of purpose. So I chose the road, I chose the wild, and if I'm going to go out, I'm going to go out painting the sunset from the side of a mountain, not hooked up to some machine in a place where no one knows my name. You know, this part, it's the hardest for me. Not the walking, not the pain, not even the unknown. It's this, talking, letting you in, putting myself out there, real, raw, and unfiltered. And by the way, guys, if you think this is an act, look at my skin. I don't know if you could see it, but I got goosebumps. Like, I got legitimate goosebumps while reading this. I'm sorry if the camera couldn't pick it up or if it was too dark, but yeah, like, seriously. I've spent most of my life invisible, not by choice, but because the world made me feel that way. My body was sick, my mind is exhausted, my heart is battered to pieces, yet now, at 68, I'm doing something I've never done before. I'm stepping out into the wild with nothing but my son, a backpack, and a prayer. We're starting from the bottom of Illinois. This is where the trail begins, and maybe where I begin again, too. I took everything I had to say yes to this. I've never done this before, not like this. Sure, I've been homeless. Once in a van, once in a tiny apartment in some dingy neighborhood. Yeah, she lived in a van for 2 years with my father, and there was like, I can't remember if there's stalactites or stalagmites, the icicles that hang above, but yeah, those were actually on the inside of the van. What was that? Probably fireworks or something around the neighborhood. Anyways, so she literally had to like chip them off from the inside of the van and like throw them out during the winter and like huddle up with coats and blankets and other stuff on them. It was bad. So where was I? Um, but hiking, sleeping under the stars, carrying 40 pounds on my back, even with fibromyalgia, this is a whole different story and I'm scared. So yeah, to explain why she said 40 pounds, we talked to her doctor and I figured out with her that the most she'll be able to do without severely like getting extremely tired or hurting herself would be 40 pounds because of her height and her conditions and everything. But if she keeps it to that, then she can easily go on this. And there's another part to that, which is only 5 miles a day. So yes, it will be a slow trek, but it's for her. This whole thing is for her to give her the best life. So why would we risk and jeopardize her health by pushing it farther than what the doctors say we can do? So to continue, I'm so scared, not for the animals or the hunger or even the pain. I've dealt with worse. I lived through worse. What scares me is being seen, being vulnerable, messing up and failing my son again. People don't talk about what it's like to start over when your body's already tired, when you've buried the version of yourself that used to dream. And now I have to find something new to live for and to fight for. This YouTube channel, these videos, they aren't for fame. They're not for clicks. They're for me, proving I'm still alive, that I still matter. It's hard for me to connect, always has been. I've been quiet most of my life, not because I don't have things to say, but because no one ever listened. Now I'm putting my face on a screen. Well, she was going to when she wrote this. So just know that with this part of now I'm putting my face on a screen. So let's continue. Letting strangers see every wrinkle, every truth, every piece of me that I've hidden for decades. But this is the journey. This is what the road demands. Not just survival, transformation, letting go of shame, of silence, of the idea that my story is over. I don't know what's waiting out there. I don't know how my body is going to hold up, but I do know this. I'd rather take my last breath on the trail, painting the horizon, than fade away in a place that never saw me. So yeah, this is hard, but it's mine. We don't Excuse me. We didn't come here to sugarcoat anything. This isn't entertainment for the sake of entertainment. It's the real life, the past. It doesn't just fade away on its own. You've got to face it. That's what I'm doing here with all of you, opening up, unlearning silence, and stepping into something I've never done before. And like I said, I don't know if you guys can see it or not, but I've got the latest too bad. I've got actual goosebumps from that. Um, and that is, in fact, like the end of it. So that's what she wrote, guys. Once again, I'm extremely sorry that she wasn't able to come on camera. She apologizes for not being able to come on camera and present all of that. And I know that this is a little bit of a longer one. So, we're gonna go ahead and pause it there for a second. Alright, guys, I'm back. Sorry about that. I really needed to get something to drink and cool down. Like I was saying, um, it's extremely hot today. It's got to be like 90 degrees outside, which makes it probably like 102 in here. So I need to get some water and go step out and cool down because the studio is really hot since I don't have the fan on and the lights are beating down on me. But we're just about at the end of this. And so Next episode, we're going to do a Q&A, like common questions type of thing. Obviously, it won't be live, but we're going to go ahead and brainstorm and knock out some of the most common questions we have, or that we think you might have, excuse me, for that. And there's another part that'll be before that as well. So it's a little bit of a surprise. You'll have to definitely tune in and see, and you'll find out what that is then. So before we get off, there's actually one more thing that happened um, recently. So, obviously, for those who have been following us for a while, we're doing the nomadic lifestyle. And for those who haven't, we're packing up everything, hitting the road, walking away from the city life, and just living off of our backs. But there's a twist. So recently, one of my childhood friends, I've known him since fourth grade, actually contacted me again after quite a few years of us like losing touch. And guys be guys, it doesn't matter how much time there is in between them, they're still cool as long as they didn't have a falling out beforehand. And so we were talking, and I was telling him about the channel and everything that goes into it. And so sorry, I just got a random message. But so he was like, so you could do that, or you could just move into my place, and it's a fixer upper, so you guys can work and fix it up and live there. And I'm not there most of the time, so it'll practically be like you and your mom's. So we'll see what happens. We will do the nomadic lifestyle if that doesn't work out, and if it does, then in the future you will be seeing us restore and repair and build this house up from a fixer upper. From what we know, it's got good bones, so it's got the basic stuff in it, enough to live in. It's just there's things going on with it that we need to repair. So as far as that is a pretty cool twist to the situation, and I'm hoping and praying that it does go fully through, because no disrespect to anybody, but life throws you curveballs, and it's not that we're saying he's being dishonest or anything. It's just, hey, he has the opportunity now, but by the time we're ready to leave, it might have already been gone because something else presented itself that he couldn't refuse. So it's no big deal. But anyways, with all of that, thank you for walking this path with us. I'm Void Keeper. This is Void Keeper Adventures, where the lost find their path.